The Kraken and Orca are overrated. That's kind of crazy because a couple months ago, the Kraken and the Orca were actually pretty good. In fact, even before that, the Megalodon was actually like the best fish to have in the game. And only like a month later, everything has completely changed because they've added so many bosses. What is up, you guys? I've got a brand new series on the channel called Fisch Hot Takes. Every week, you guys, or whenever I feel like it, I'm gonna put out a YouTube post basically telling you guys to give me your hot takes. So if you guys want to be in the next episode, subscribe and hit that bell so you can be notified. And I'll also notify everyone in my Discord server, so click the link down below to my server so you can be ready, as we also have a great community in there. But yeah, you guys, let me know down below if I should keep doing this series. Anyone that gets put on the series is going to be getting a shout out since their name is going to be on the screen. But yeah, you guys, subscribe and hit that bell, like the video, share this video with all your friends. And yeah, you guys, with that being said, let's get straight into the hot takes. Challenger's rod is overrated. So this rod is like $2.5 million, and it is basically a better version of the Tempest rod. Now, saying it's overrated might be a little bit of an overstatement since this rod has been talked about quite a bit. It is expensive, but it is a good rod. I think underrated isn't the right word. And maybe if you think like it's not talked about enough, but me personally, man, this rod, I think it's perfect the way it is in terms of like the reputation this rod has. I don't think this rod has a reputation at being bad. It might have taken a drop since the steady and the blessed song thing kind of ruined it a little bit with the passives to make this overpowered. But this rod, in my opinion, putting blessed song on this thing or steady, in my opinion, is still an overpowered combo. I guess if a lot of people do disagree with that, then maybe this is a bit underrated, but I think this rod is fine just the way it is with reputation. I think we kind of can all agree that this rod is good, but that is a good take. Seraphic rod needs a buff. Now this is pretty interesting, you guys, because Seraphic rod for a while was the best in the game, and when this thing first came out, it was actually more overpowered than what it is now. Because back in the day, you guys, for those of you guys that don't know, when this rod first came out, when the level 1000 cap first dropped, basically this rod had an overpowered passive ability where when you start catching a fish, this huge explosion right here would make it to like 95% of the thing is already complete. But they actually made it 45%, making this no longer like much of a developer rod like what it was before. And I do think that was the wrong move. Now the stats on this thing are actually like still the second best in the game, only to the Ethereal Prism Rod. But before the Ethereal Prism Rod, man, even with the nerf, this rod was still a beast, man. Insane stats and everything, good luck, good everything. Just that the passive probably shouldn't have been nerfed. And also the other thing as well is that there is no money passive, so you have to put quantum on it. I think maybe they can put a better passive, or maybe upgrade the passive to be higher than 45. Maybe 90 might be a little bit too high, but maybe 65 or 70 would be fair considering the fact that this is a maximum level rod at the moment, level 1000. I think they should make this a special rod. I think they should honestly go for buffing it. I mean, I have to agree with this, man. It's a hot take, and maybe some of you guys might be disagreeing with me in the comments, but I can't lie to you, man. This rod does kind of need a buff when you think about it. I've always loved this rod, man. Like when I first got it, this thing was an absolute beast. It still is. I've caught so much fish with this, but yeah, this thing does need a buff. And also, the rod just looks really cool as well. It looks heavenly, you know? Like that's what I like about it. It looks so great. It looks overpowered, so it should be overpowered. Should it be better than the Ethereal Prism Rod? Maybe, maybe not, but it is not an easy rod to get. I get that a lot of people can just macro for a few days and get this thing. Well, more like a week or two, because reaching max level in this game has never been easy. But still, man, I will agree with this. I think Seraphic rod needs a buff. Let me know down below what you guys think. So I feel like half of this audience might be saying, yeah, this does need a buff, especially since it was nerfed before. But also, I feel like some people might say, like, no, keep it as it is. So I actually really want to know what you guys think of this, because I'm not going to lie, man. Me, personally, I do think it needs a buff. Hopefully, they actually buff this in the future. Maybe give the passive a little bit of a higher ability. The stats on it, though, are great. I don't think the stats really need a big change. But other than that, great rod. Oh, boy, you guys. Now we really got a hot take. The Heavens Rod needs a major buff. Now, this is really interesting. So, the Heavens Rod, in my opinion, is absolutely insane. The stats on this thing are absolutely broken as well. Really good resilience. Max kilograms infinite. Control 0.2. The luck is massive, but the lure speed is where this rod falls. Now, this is an easy fix if you put hasty, which I still haven't because I'm stupid. But it's a pretty easy problem to fix. And the reason why this might be a little bit controversial is because some people might think this rod needs a nerf because of how overpowered this thing is. Now, I actually want to know what you guys think of this down below too, because I'm not gonna lie, bro. Heaven's Rod can go either way. You can say it needs a buff for the lure speed, and don't get me wrong, this rod is not easy to obtain. You have to like go through that whole Northern Expedition mission, which is not an easy task. I made a whole 30-minute guide on how to get this thing because there are a lot of steps involved. But again, this rod, it is absolutely a beast already. Put Hasty on it if you want to put the lure speed a lot higher, and use some bait as well that will higher the lure speed, and you have yourself a rod that's probably better than Seraphic, if I'm being totally honest. Base stats, Seraphic is more balanced, making it better, but Heaven's Rod and Hasty combo will already make this one of the best rods in the game. And it has a 10% chance of getting the Heavenly mutation, which is pretty decent. Nothing crazy, but it's not bad at all. But I think by major buff, I think it should be the passive getting buff more than anything else. Maybe making the mutation chance higher and the money you make from that mutation higher as well. I think that would be a perfect way to make this better. But I would not mind a higher lure speed on this. But I feel like if they go with the lure speed buff, I feel like then this rod's just going to be too broken. But I think with how like the Ethereal Prism Rod and the Seraphic Rod is nowadays, I don't think that's a bad idea. And I'm not going to lie, this rod might actually be one of the most underrated. And this is my personal hot take right here. This is an EJO hot take. But I personally think this rod might be one of the most underrated rods. Because yeah, some of the other rods might be a little bit better. But this with Hasty is honestly going to beat Seraphic. I'm sorry, bro. The lure speed needs a lot of fixing for sure. I gotta put Hasty on it. And again, that is a problem that could be fixed. But in today's day and age where it's really hard to catch mythicals, having a really high luck like this is actually pretty crazy to think about now. If you asked me like 3-4 months ago if this rod was underrated, I would honestly say no, just because of the fact that catching mythicals were so much easier than now, because nowadays it is so hard to catch a mythical even with like the Seraphic Rod and the Ethereal Prism. So I gotta say, I do kind of think this rod needs a major buff with how this game is now. And if they do get a buff in terms of like the lure speed, then yeah, I mean this rod would basically be one of the best in the game, and rightfully so. This rod is not an easy one to get, so it should get a buff. Major is questionable depending on what your definition of a major buff is. For me, the major buff would definitely be the lure speed, but maybe the passive being buffed might be a good thing as well. But yeah, you guys, thank you so much for watching the first ever episode. We didn't get a lot of hot takes because not a lot of people honestly saw my post, so be on the lookout for the post. And also let me know if you guys want to see more on this as well, like more episodes, because I do want to do more perhaps. And again, click the notification bell and join my Discord server, because in both of those you will be notified when I actually do put out the next post, and you could be featured in the next video. Thank you all for watching. Stay blessed, everybody. Peace.